Nicknamed the Uber for dogs and Dog B&B, Wag and Rover are popular apps that are transforming the pet care industry. Now, these apps offer on-demand dog walking and dog sitting services right through your phone. But a growing number of reports of dogs being mistreated are now raising new questions about how well these apps screen their walkers and their sitters. Chip Reed is in Washington with a closer look at all of this. Chip, good morning to you.
Well, good morning. Wag and Rover have made it easier than ever to find someone to walk and watch your pets. And these companies are cashing in. Both are valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars. But while the potential for profit is high, so are the stakes. We spoke with one woman who blames Rover for the death of her dog.
He was the one dog that was meant for me.
Colleen Nolan says she built her life around her 12-year-old Japanese chin named Mooshu, adopted at 8 weeks old. When a work trip came up last year, Nolan says she was worried about leaving him. Mooshu was not just old, he was blind.
I wanted to make sure that he was comfortable in his surroundings, that he stayed in the home. So I reached out to Rover to try to find a sitter.
Rover and Wag are popular apps that connect pet owners with walkers and sitters. They advertise rigorous screening and background checks. Nolan says she chose a Rover sitter who had badges on her profile for working with senior and special needs dogs.
My little munchkin.
Nolan says she gave the sitter specific instructions. Mooshu was to be taken out of the house only for short walks. Those instructions, she later learned, were ignored.
You got an emergency text from the dog sitter. And what did it say?
I called her and I said, "What happened?" And she said, "Moosh fell off my porch."
Fell off her porch?
Yes. And I said, "What do you mean, your porch?"
Because she was supposed to stay right here in your house.
Like, how far did he fall? And
she
said 2 stories.
2 stories. That's not a porch.
It's not a porch.
Nolan says Rover offered to cover half of the expenses following Mooshu's death, including vet bills, cremation, and the cost of a new dog, totaling $2,600. But with one condition: sign a strict confidentiality agreement.
Never tell my story, to never warn any other parent.
So what did you do?
I never called them back.
Rover advertises that fewer than 20% of sitters who apply are accepted. They say all must pass a background check and be approved by a team of specialists.
What was your understanding of Rover and their selectivity?
I thought that with Rover saying that they only select a small few and that they hand review each one of these sitters, that clearly those badges had to mean that they vetted that.
Nolan's is not the only case. CBS News spoke to 14 families who say their dogs died while in the care of Rover or Wag sitters. 12 of those incidents involved Rover sitters. One user said she discovered her Rover sitter had a criminal record, and users of both apps told us they were also asked to sign non-disclosure agreements following incidents. In December, a Wag walker was caught on surveillance video kicking and intimidating a dog. Wag is currently being investigated by the Better Business Bureau over claims made in their advertisements, including that walkers are vetted through a rigorous screening process. In a statement to CBS News, Wag told us that in addition to background checks, they collect real-time information through the app to regularly assess walkers. Rover told us sitters must also provide photos, testimonials, and pass a safety quiz.
Just pasting a badge on the website's not going to work anymore. They're going to have to back that up with some kind of training.
Pet care industry experts such as Carmen Rustenbeck says the industry is beginning to adopt more regulations, but for now, pet owners should be looking for pet care providers with professional licenses.
If you had a child, would you just accept a person on an app to take care of your child, or would you do more investigation? And that's what I encourage all pet owners to do.
Rover and Wag told us that incidents like Nolan's are rare, but they declined to provide exact numbers. But in a document obtained by CBS News from a lawsuit against Rover in California, Rover says they don't keep track on their platform of how many dogs have died. And they told us the well-being of pets is their top priority, and they are continually working to improve safety. Wag told us that they are committed to constantly improving their service and care deeply about the safety of dogs. Nora?
Important story, Chip. Thank you. I mean,
Wag
this is
and Rover
very
have
common.
some explaining to do.
Yeah.
That's. She raised a really good point, the woman at the end, where she said, taking care of your children, and most people who have dogs and love our dogs think of them as our children, certainly members of the family, and you wouldn't rely on someone to rely on what you read on an app or what you saw on an app. She's very right about that.
Yeah.
That video, guys, of the guy kicking the dog
Right.
is one of the cruelest things you can do to a
Yeah.
poor, defenseless little animal.
All right. There'll be more, I think, on this story about the changes that they're going to make.
Nora, I'm glad people are speaking out.